We got two picks to talk about here on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report, beginning at the end of the second round as Brett Veach made a great pick, if I'd say so myself. Your fearless leader. I never let you down. I projected this morning, folks. Omarr Norman-Lott, defensive tackle from Tennessee, is the 63rd overall selection, filling a big need when it comes to backup defensive lineman. I love that pick. Now, a couple of picks later at 66, this pick I'm not as high on. This is the first pick that I'm a little skeptical about that Kansas City has made in this draft, and that is Ashton Gillotte from Louisville, the edge rusher, to begin round number 3. Let's talk about each of these picks. Let's start with Norman-Lott. 23 years old, out of North Highlands, California. Checks in at 6'1", 7/8", 303 pounds. And his production, the numbers don't tell all the story. 18 tackles, 4 TFLs, and 4 sacks. But he was taking on a lot of double teams there at Tennessee and was playing alongside James Pierce Jr. as well, who kind of took from some of that production in that sense. But even with that said, he still was able to account for 27 total pressures this past season. Kind of reminds me of Milton Williams, like a poor man's Milton Williams. He's a 3-tech who might be a third down situational player only as far as that goes. And here's some other things to keep in mind on his scouting report. He had an obscene pressure rate this year, folks. Good athletic ability with burst, plus length and massive hands. A bit undersized. Lacks great power for a defensive tackle. Massive hands. And I'll leave it at that. I won't go any further. You probably get the idea. If you got massive hands, then that does you pretty well. Good athletic ability and plus length. Solid pass rush play. He's got a bit of a Euro step for a defensive tackle, which is pretty nice. The burst is there on top of that as well. So there's plenty of things to like about. And if anything, we knew that Chris Jones is not getting any younger. He's not going to play as many reps all the time. This, if you develop him right, if Norman-Lott comes along, you can feel a lot better about this defensive line situation with having him. You brought in Tillery. You still have, Karlaftis, Dana, Mike Pennell, Amenahue, King Felix. This could turn into a pretty decent group for the Kansas City Chiefs in 2025 after one of the struggles that the Chiefs had for much of the season. They got better when the year went along when they got Charles Amenahue healthy, was getting after the quarterback. For as much as we've talked about how good this Spags defense was and what he's done to develop pass rushers, that was an ongoing problem for the Kansas City Chiefs, was getting after the quarterback. And now this should only help your cause in that sense to add a player of this caliber to the fold here for the Kansas City Chiefs. So let's ask you, how would you grade the pick? A, B, C, D, or F? What do you think of the move to draft Omarr Norman-Lott at 63 overall? I'll give you a grade later tonight, but I want to hear from you guys first. Weigh in on our pinned comment today. Let us know what you think. A, B, C, D, or F. Chime in and let us know. Folks, it has been a very eventful draft already here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. We brought you a live show Thursday night. We're in the middle of a live show right now. Who knows? You may be watching on our Chiefs Report live stream. Maybe you're watching the video later on demand, but we're not slowing down by any stretch of the imagination. We have breakdowns of every single pick that the Kansas City Chiefs are making. If you love the Chiefs, this is the channel for you. You got to be subscribed for free. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV. I want at least 20 subs off today's video. Sub it up. Sub now. Stay with us all off season long. We got you covered. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV to subscribe now for free. So Omarr Norman-Lott. I look at this guy and I see some potential. What exactly he turns into down the line, that remains to be seen. But I think you're at least at a very good starting point to build upon from here. The Athletics' Dane Brugler had this to say on him. He's an explosive disruptor and offers high upside for a coaching staff that can harness his energy, although he will need to improve his undisciplined need to improve his undisciplined tendencies, especially in the run game. There is no doubt about his NFL talent, but his ability to handle more of a full-time role is a tricky projection there. And I think that's a very fair thing to say from Dane Brugler there, that he's far from a finished product by any stretch of the imagination as far as that goes. We'll go over the next pick for the Kansas City Chiefs in just a bit, but first, let's tell you about today's sponsor. That is Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. And recently, I went down to Oklahoma City to watch my Thunder in action for an NBA game. And maybe you want to go to OKC for some NBA playoff action. Maybe it's another sporting event right here in Kansas City. Whether that is the Royals, Sporting KC, the KC Current, whatever it may be. You choose the event you want to go to. They have the prices listed. Choose your seat, see if you like that seat or not. And then just like that, you're checking out on Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. And it's great on short notice, like I did with my family, where we were able to save because the prices go down the closer it gets to when the event starts. And if you have their low prices, tickets enabled feature, you can invest a lot more in buying food, drinks, merchandise, and easily get a large group to come with you and use that money you saved on tickets on other things like that. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of the Chiefs Report. Their last-minute deals save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy shows, theater productions, and more. Game Time Picks makes last-minute ticket buying easier than ever by quickly highlighting the best deals in the stadium. They have their zone deals. Save even more when you choose a section. Let Game Time choose the seats. They offer all-in pricing. Toggling this feature shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. They have their seat views where you can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. The lowest price is guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Game Time, proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. All right, let's talk about the next pick for the Kansas City Chiefs at 66. Third rounder, Ashton Gillotte, the edge rusher from Louisville. Let's give you the details on him. 22 years old from Boca Raton, Florida. Checks in at 6'2", 7/8", 264 pounds. Last season, accounted for 43 tackles, 10 TFLs, and 4.5 sacks. And why is that notable? Well, those numbers are down quite a bit from what they were the year prior. His production fell off last season. You can see it in his scouting report, as we mentioned. You can see for yourself there. The production, the pressure rate did not fall off, though, but the production did. Average athlete with arm length questions. He's got a high motor. He does flash some good power. Good burst to convert speed to power. His hands fight well when he's able to use them at length. But the arm length issues will play out of control at times. You'll worry about him versus the run at points. This is the first kind of head-scratching pick we've seen from Brett Veach at this point in time. And we always know it's in Veach we trust, but this one does not feel great. But when you're in the third round, not everything's going to be kosher. You're going to have some misses. Not everything's going to be perfect. And there's a lot of concern, I think, and rightfully so, when it comes to Ashton on that front. His testing numbers, 4.65 40-yard dash time, 24 bench reps, and also had a 36.5-inch vertical. The depth chart, you'll look at the defensive line, you'd have to think he'll be in that edge rotation with Charles Omenihu, King Felix, Mike Dana, George Karlaftis. It's going to be pretty competitive for him just to even get playing time with the names that we just mentioned there as well. He'll have his work cut out for him, but we'll see what comes of that. The Athletic's Dane Brugler said this on him, on Gillotte. Gillotte is a densely built edge defender who might not check every box, but is consistently in the sack area and plays fast, physical, and persistent. 3 qualities that will endear him to NFL coaches. He could be an immediate sub-package rusher with long-term starting potential. So, do you like the pick of Ashton Gillotte? Man, it's a no for me. And I hate to disagree with Brett Veach. Maybe he knows something I don't, but I'm not overly thrilled. I'm not overly thrilled about this pick. What do you guys feel? Why for yes, in for no? So far, as we're wrapping up here, here's the picks for the Chiefs to this point. They went with Simmons, and they got an extra 5th-round pick out of it by backing down to 1 spot. Omarr Norman-Lott, I feel very good about, and I think he should be a difference maker. And then Ashton Gillotte, big takeaway, too, of these first 3 picks. Bulky, size, Sam's Club, Costco. I mean, we're bulking up, all right? We're getting swollen here. We're working out at the Gold's Gym, all right? That's what we're doing here. We're eating the Costco hot dog, drinking the big fountain drink Dr. Pepper, and then we're going to Gold's Gym. The bulk, the size, that's what we're doing here with these first 3 picks. Can we get some speed next? I don't mind. I'd like some speed somewhere. Receiver, running back, corner, safety. We'll see. Interesting start nonetheless. Here's the look at the profile of the Chiefs. Not a ton of cap space. Brett Veach has said in the past that this would be their free agency period. And you can see the focus so far, winning in the trenches, which was the biggest thing holding them back last year to this point. And I think they're setting themselves up to go back to the Super Bowl once again with these moves that they've made so far to this point. It's been a good start. Didn't necessarily like the last pick, but I like the first 2 picks that they've made. Who do you want the Chiefs to draft next? Way in the comment section, give me a name that you would like to see end up in Kansas City. For continuing Chiefs coverage, subscribe now to the Kansas City Chiefs Report, youtube.com/ChiefsTV. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.